Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our joint webinar hosted by FanFood and First Star Solutions. We're super excited to have you here, and thank you so much for joining us. Today's topic will be, what will game day look like this year for minor league sports teams and venues, which is a topic that we think is really top of mind for many people, especially as we're finalizing spring trainings and our game season schedules this year. Exactly what can we expect when seasons and fans do return? So before we dive into the topic, some housekeeping items. We will be sending out a full recording and this presentation deck afterwards, as long as you have registered through the link. If there are other people that you think would benefit from the recording and deck, make sure you let them register through the link that you registered for the session from, and they will receive the recording and deck as well. You can submit your questions at any time during the webinar. We will be answering them at the end, and we will also email you a full Q&A response in writing afterwards. To submit questions, you can simply use the chat function at the bottom with this icon in there. There's a bonus in order to appreciate that you sign up for the webinar. We will also be emailing you a free ebook, Guide to In-Venue Mobile Ordering in 2021. So definitely look out for that. So my name is Isabella. I'm VP of Marketing at FanFood, and today I'm super excited to have two absolutely amazing individuals, human beings. Super glad to be working with them, and they're very experienced in the space of mobile ordering and food service in the stadium space, both sports and live entertainment. So we have Will Anderson and Luis Rivera. So Will and Luis, I'll kick it off to you guys, and we are super excited to be learning from you.
Great. Thanks, Isabella. Appreciate that.
We're amazing, Will.
And we sure are. And Isabella, give yourself some credit there too. I think that applies to you as well. Well, hey, everybody. As Isabella said, my name is Will Anderson. I am a co-founder at FanFood, where I run sales and partnership opportunities. I've been working on FanFood for about 6 years now, where initially kind of started, breaking us into markets when mobile ordering was still thought of more so as an amenity suitable for the future. I still remain active in those activities while also seeking partnerships that can help expedite the growth of the business. I will say, I think times have certainly changed since we first started this thing, especially given today's environment. And we'll dive into some of that here in this session. But really here, within the past few years, I've been fortunate enough to meet some amazing people within the industry and in the world of sports. And Luis, here with us today is certainly one of them, as Isabella said. So Luis, man, excited and happy to have you on here with us.
Thank you, sir. I'm excited to be here too. And as you can see, I'm calling in or dialing in from beautiful Tallahassee at one of our clients' properties, Florida State University, a prime location for sports and entertainment. And it's truly exciting to see the planning for sports in 2021. But before we talk about that later in the call, Luis Rivera, industry, food and beverage professional, been in the business for the past 22 years. I've operated buildings all around the world, from NFL stadiums to international soccer, MLB, Super Bowls, NBAs, the whole 9 yards. I spent about 18 and a half years with Levy Restaurants and a couple of years with Airmark in Las Vegas, operating at the time the largest convention center in the world, the Las Vegas Convention Center. And then had to leave my Las Vegas fun to come back to Florida. And there, I took a really cool opportunity with the Jaguars, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where we developed arguably one of the best fan experience operations in the NFL. So I'm happy to be part of this call. I'm happy to be helping clients get back in the game and helping fans get back into these beautiful stadiums. I think we're all ready for sports, and I think we're all ready to share a beer and eat a couple hot dogs as we walk around and cheer on our best teams. So thank you for having me. Thank you, Isabella. You are amazing as well. Let's kick it off. Let's go.
Yeah, Lewis, it's tough to be a consultant in sports, right? Getting to travel around to all these venues and having views like the one behind you there.
Yeah,
So,
it's
I think, yeah, before we dive into the materials for today's discussion, for those of you that are unfamiliar with FanFood and First Star Solutions, here's some quick introductions. And to start with FanFood. So FanFood is this online mobile ordering marketplace that essentially allows users to effortlessly place contactless orders for express pickup, instant delivery, or pre-orders prior to an event. FanFood's goal is really to empower concessionaires to efficiently manage and fulfill digital orders through either a standalone or an integrated cashless ecosystem. And as you can see here, right, for the pre-ordering, this method is exactly how it sounds, right? Guests can place an order in advance prior to attending an event, whether that be days and or hours ahead of arrival, depending on what the venue determines to be the time parameters there. As for the order now, this refers to your standard in-game ordering, right? So to continue on with the next two bullets, FanFood turns the guest into the point of sale. And based on the offering, deemed by the concessionaire, users have the ability to order for express pickup, instant delivery, and then will be notified via an SMS text message as to when their order is either ready for pickup or out for delivery. Today, FanFood's sitting at just about 270 accounts. So I believe it's actually closer to 300 here today now. And those accounts range really within 3 core markets. Isabella, for that next slide there. There we go. So the core markets are, but aren't limited to, sports, entertainment, and hospitality. So the sports really covers anything from high schools, colleges, minor leagues, and professional venues. As for the entertainment, that primarily includes amphitheaters, drive-in movie theaters. And as we look at hospitality, which is really kind of a new space for us, but one that grew quickly, given the circumstances of this year and this past year, we're now within hotels and some restaurants and food trucks as well. And there at the bottom, are a few of our partnerships. With most of the spaces that we're in, Lewis happens to be active in those same markets. So Lewis, going to go ahead and hand it off to you to tell us a little bit more about First Star Solutions.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's really great stuff, and it's exciting to see you guys grow to the company that you guys are today. But like First Star Solutions, similar to FanFood, our main focus is elevating the fan experience. After working in these venues for the past 22 years, I had to pause a little bit and where's my focus and where do I want to be? And I pivoted a little bit. I said I don't no longer want to operate these buildings from a food and beverage perspective. I no longer want to be the general manager. I want to teach venues and clients on how to elevate their fan experience, on how to make that beer and hot dog that I alluded to earlier a food experience, not just going around eating a $5 hot dog. So that's where First Star Solutions came about, and our focus is from operational assessments on bettering the fan experience to concept development. We take, for example, Florida State here. We're working on a plethora of concession developments to enhance what I keep saying the fan experience, from taking your traditional hot dog and making it a gourmet hot dog, your burgers and beer. Revenue growth obviously is a huge part of what we do. Teaching clients on how to grow their per caps, how to grow their overall scope of business by incorporating your sponsorship partners, incorporating your ushers and those that are providing experiences to fans, bringing everybody together and creating an ecosystem for an experience for your fans. Client retention, helping them sign better deals, working them through RFPs, just overall anything regarding food and beverage in these beautiful facilities that we call home. That's our focus, and I'm happy to be a part of this call and happy to help anyone on this call with some of their opportunities in their venues. Thank you.
Awesome. Perfect, Louis. And so as we look at the agenda for today, it'll consist of the following, right? So we're going to be looking at things to expect, right, for when the fans return following COVID-19's impact, and what will game day look like for this year. And then following that, we'll jump into a quick run through the FanFood platform and how we may be able to assist in creating a safe and comfortable way for fans to order F&B. And then after all of that, we'll go ahead and open it up for a Q&A and answer any questions this group has for Louis and I. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Okay, so right, we all know, at least in the immediate future and until vaccines reach the masses, we will be subject to certain safety standards, right? That will ultimately lead to less attendance. But in my mind, and Louis, curious to get your thoughts on this too. Lower attendance, may also mean, I think, a more controlled environment, right? So the venues have the opportunity to really try to roll out new offerings, services they may have wanted to try, but were a little hesitant to attempt beforehand when they had a full house. And as you can see here, right, mobile ordering, which, spoiler alert, will be a point of emphasis throughout this presentation, it is a piece to, I think, that overall digital experience and really just puzzle to the post-COVID world. We'll go ahead and jump to that next slide here, Isabella. And so, right, we will dive into some specific trends that I think we see are advancing quicker than expected, due to COVID here in a few slides. But as most of us know, again, right, there will be restrictions as it relates to capacity. Sanitation stations will be put throughout facilities, and there will be socially distant seating arrangements. Certainly as we think about the concourse, people are going to be much more cautious around others, right? Which will, again, result in less lines, meaning less revenue. So I think venues really seriously need to consider, different solutions, if they aren't already, to help make up for some of that lost revenue. Whether that be, right, incentives, by F&B promos to get people in the doors early, enabling pre-orders, right, for those fans that want to avoid congestion on the concourse. Maybe even something along the lines of raffles for merchandise bundles, and, among other things. But I think, another way to increase revenue through mobile ordering is, upselling products, maybe even adding, balls that are signed by players, right, in the merch category within your mobile offering. So, I think there is one thing, though, that is often overlooked here. And Louis, to be curious to get your thoughts on this around, integrating sponsorships into F&B, right? Whether it's, promoting a local restaurant that fans should go to, post game, or having a different specialty or limited product offering for select games. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, this is a great slide because there's so much information, so much planning that goes behind the scenes to get these stadiums full. I'm here in FSU, and we have a spring game, right, that we're planning for April. I was just in Arizona at U of A a couple of days ago, doing the same thing, planning, and we're planning for 100%. Are we going to get there? Probably not. We're probably going to get to 55%. But something that we're doing, where we're spreading people out, we're getting creative. Back 2-3 years ago, when you were talking mobile ordering, the phones, this was like a big no-no. Well, season ticket holders, we have an older population, they're not going to want to download. What about battery, charges? What about ATMs? We have solutions, and we're fixing all those, hurdles and opportunities by implementing solutions like FanFood. These masks, when I started wearing them, I hated them. I was just on a 5-hour flight to Arizona. I wore it the entire time. It doesn't bother. You know why? Because I need to get on that plane. It's not going to bother fans because they want to come root on their favorite team. they're not going to have any issues with downloading a mobile app just to experience the fan. Sponsors, I mean, I think you mentioned that earlier. Sponsors are hurting. 50% capacity. We're signing deals with sponsorship that the numbers are a lot less than what were presented in some of their agreements. So we're having to re-engage sponsors in different ways as well. So the sky's the limit. We're doing it. We're getting creative. Live sports is back in 2021. It may not be back at 100%, but we're doing it.
Absolutely. And quickly here before we continue on, what is apparent and just apart from the mobile side of things, right? Those that are handling the hospitality functions within venues, I mean, have to get creative, right, on how they can continue to offer things that they typically would. And curious, based on what you've seen, Lewis, and have heard, what are some of those challenges that they are facing and solutions that they're trying to put in place to provide the best experience possible, right? I mean, given the circumstances.
Well, I mean, some of the challenges from a food and beverage perspective is variety, right? We want to come into stadiums and show off. We want to come into stadiums and provide the best of the best and work with local partners, bring restaurateurs in. We can't do that because we're having to spread people out so far, and 50% capacity, 25% capacity in a lot of these venues behind us means, you're closing a third of your stadium, a third of your concession operation, training staff. Some of those issues we're dealing with, and are real life because of the reduction in capacity. But we're still providing, we're still minimizing the staff, and we're wanting to provide an experience. I was just at the and let me mention this before we move on. I was just at the Super Bowl in Tampa. The Buccaneers and TSA and Legends did a phenomenal job. 30,000 fans. I mean, there was probably 50,000 cardboard cutouts, which looked pretty cool. And it was a great win for Tom Brady. But nonetheless, they opened every single concession stand. But Legends was, they ran into hurdles is, well, how do we pay for that? And how do we offset that? Because when I operated the last Super Bowl in Tampa, that it was in 2008, it costs a lot of money to operate those buildings. And the Buccaneers came in and they offset it, some of the labor for Legends to provide that experience for the Super Bowl. Some of these venues may not be able to do that, but get creative. Start thinking on ways that's going to keep your fans engaged, and you're going to be able to elevate that experience just a tad bit higher than you did at the end of 2020 when we played a little bit of sports.
So, Lewis, so hold on. You were at the actual Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, man.
So I knew you were in town. I knew you were in town, but man, lucky you got to see Brady bring in number 7, huh?
Yeah, I didn't make it to the boat parade. I didn't get that invitation. I wanted to be there, but I'll take the Super Bowl.
Brady. Yeah, I'm surprised Brady didn't ask you to be on his boat with him, huh?
Yeah, I'm not as cool as Isabella. I don't get those invitations.
Right. All right, so jumping in here, quiz time, right? For the first question, right? Which of the following payment methods was most used in 2020? I'll give a few seconds here, but I would assume most of us are probably on the same page here. So as we look at 3 options, of course, contactless, right? No surprise there, I don't think. And to clarify, contactless meaning, right, no exchange of cash or card. So either, touch pay or, in Grubhub or DoorDash or FanFood's case, right, a kind of card not present transaction, which is, this online mobile purchase through, say, either your computer or cell phone by using Apple Pay, Google Pay, Amazon, or manually putting your credit card, right? And this type of payment method, I think, is only going to become more and more prominent. Currently at sitting just above, 41%. I mean, I want to be surprised to see this closer to 60% this year, if not more, and certainly as we go into 2022 even, right? I mean, Lewis, did you think it was going to be right around there, or did you think it would be higher?
I never thought the numbers were gonna, reach what they have reached. Having, done this for a long time, cash was always 65% of the transactions. And then, COVID, yeah, cash went away. Again, I'm planning some spring games coming up for some of the universities, and we're not ordering any money, no cash. And everywhere you walk around some of these stadiums, there's no cash in at the Super Bowl. There's a little bit of, some reversed ATMs where you can pull out, temporary credit cards. But the focus right now is the contactless payment and those mobile wallets. And it's the future. I can pay for a beer and a hot dog from my watch. Pretty cool, right? Or whatever device you have. So I'm excited where the numbers are where they are. I think they're going to continue to grow, and eventually cash will go away and credit cards will be minimized, which would be good for some of these venues and teams from the fees that are associated with credit cards. It's going to be some significant amount of savings.
And quickly before I do, go on to that next slide there. Louis, I'm curious, what would your estimate be? At what point will we get rid of POSs? Do you think at any point in the near future will we see it purely be contactless ordering, whether that be kiosks or mobile only? Do you have any timeline that you think would be realistic for that?
I like to say in the near future, maybe 2022, 2023. I know Amazon's working on some really cool POS, or not POS systems, but contactless transactions where you go into a store, you pick up a bottle of water, you do this, you walk out, and your phone or whatever's picking up that transaction, and you're just walking out. I know some venues where we're working on just mobile ordering at a concession stand where you go in, you place your order, you pick up your food. I think that's going to have a little bit slower because of the engagement between the team member and the fan. But at the same time, that interaction slows the lines down, so your throughput is not as great when somebody already know what they're going to order when they get to the line. So I would say 2022 will be a huge push. I'm going to continue pushing it in 2021 with some clients and some of the new buildings that I'm working with. But I would say 3 years will be all contactless.
Well, I can tell you, everybody at FanFood loves to hear that.
I hope so, at least.
Yeah, and I would agree. Whether it is, like you said, that grab and go, or just completely moving to some other type of contactless initiatives there. But moving on to question number 2 here. How much larger are FanFood orders compared to walk-up orders on average? All right, give a few seconds here. And this one, some people might not have been familiar with, but here we are. It's 25%. And, I think there are a few factors here as to why that is. One being, I do think there is just a psychological component to ordering online, right, or on a device versus passing money over to somebody. But secondly, I think, by displaying menus digitally, it's much easier for fans and guests to survey the menu and see all the options, right, all the images of each product. I think that plays a part into it as well. And I think that the third point that I would like to mention is, especially for mobile ordering, right, there's no rush, right, to quickly select your items since no one is standing behind you and waiting their turn. But, something I read that I found interesting the other day, McKinsey Research estimated, I think it was, Isabel, you would probably know too, 35% of consumer purchases on Amazon came from product recommendations, right? Which I found staggering. And I think that stat just goes to show how impactful, digital platforms can influence purchasing behaviors, right? I mean, I believe this has a similar effect to that of, say, FanFood and restaurant delivery apps offering, say, combos, right? Creating value offerings tends to be very attractive for users. Now, I think there is a personalization aspect to that as well, and I think we'll touch on that here on this next slide. But first, Louis, I mean, what would you have expected to see here? Did you expect a higher number, lower, or is that kind of around what you would have expected?
No, I think it's right around, and I think it's growing. And just to give you guys a quick story, I got in trouble a couple of days ago by my wife.
Of course you did.
It's that recommendation, right? I was online ordering some shirts, and this new pattern kept popping up. I was like, oh, okay, I'll get it. Had to go to buy 3 shirts. I bought 9 shirts just on product recommendations. And it's the same thing that we're seeing on the food side. Well, I really didn't want that, candy bar. I really didn't want that, that souvenir cup. I just wanted a regular soda, but it looks cool. Let me recommend it. And I'm going to buy it. And it's helping with our sponsors, right? Because we're also helping our sponsors get that recognition that they're not getting elsewhere because people are just walking around in the concourse or waiting in line.
Absolutely. Well, perfect. All right. So as we kind of dive into the next slide here, right? What are the different trends that we're seeing? And with the answers from the questions on the previous slides, I think it's apparent that mobile activation is leading to more revenue generation, right? But there is more to it than just ordering F&B, right? I mean, there's ordering merchandise, buying tickets online, which I saw was growing at a rate of just, I think, 10% year over year for the past 5 years. And really with many events and sports returning in 2021 following COVID conditions, I mean, I would expect to see a pretty big spike there, as well as for contactless ordering. I mean, even with, already 42%, making online payments and 80 million plus people purchasing tickets online, I mean, there's still clearly a lot of room for growth there. And I believe that's something that we're going to recognize this year, the following, and obviously for years to come. Louis, do you have anything to add to those first 2 trends there?
No, I mean, I think the difference is, that in getting those numbers higher is people are still reserved in coming out. But I think once, the football season starts and baseball season and some of these, other seasons in 2021, you're going to see it grow because people are just that confident. And quite frankly, people are just tired of being home. So I think it's going to grow. And I think those trends we'll see higher numbers.
Absolutely. And as we look at the digital fan engagement here, right? I mean, to nobody's surprise, right? Wi-Fi and cell coverage, within facilities is certainly becoming one of the more important priorities. So fans can, share things that are happening in the game in real time. And I mean, 80% of people are on their phones at events. And honestly, I expected that one to almost be a little higher, at least for those that would be checking their phones. But also, right, I mean, fans want to be able to look up players and get to know the product on the field or on the court better, right? And I think providing a way for fans to share and gain insights on their device at events is something that guests, right, the fans are starting to apply pressure on. And then lastly here, as we look at, that personalization factor, I think by leveraging user data, and as I think about this, right, and in FanFood terms, concessionaires and sales teams will be able to identify, certain purchasing trends, right, on a individual level. So for instance, a season ticket holder that buys a hot dog, fries, and a beer at every event can start to maybe receive a unique code or receive a promo to order that exact meal for free, maybe, every so often or every, X amount of games that they attend. So Louis,
and I think it goes further than that. And sorry to cut you off. It's that person's buying a Bud Light, so now the sponsorship team can work with Anheuser-Busch, and they're getting a $5 coupon to go to the local Walgreens that they have a sponsorship with to buy that Anheuser-Busch that they have a sponsorship with also. So that's what's engaging. And honestly, I want to know what people are buying, how they're buying from a food guy. If somebody's coming from section, 242, they're going down to section 101 to buy this, signature item or buy this ice cream, then why am I inconveniencing that person every single day? Let me menu engineer and put those items in 242 to create that better fan experience. Now I'm tailoring the menu to the fans and the locations to the fans versus the fans having to go out and buy this stuff. So the information behind this personalization is amazing, and we truly know how people are buying and what they're buying and how they're buying it and where.
And I think, just to quickly on that, one last piece is, so to your point around, the purchasing behaviors of what's listed in the menu and even how it's listed, right? So as we think about, say, the beer example, right? You have Budweiser, maybe a Heineken, like, and Michelob Ultra. And we're noticing that, the top two are selected, say 8 times out of 10, right? So then you can go to some of these other beer brands, and then you can almost have people bidding for prioritization as to how they're listed within the digital menu there. So just a little quick note there that I find very interesting.
Good analytics behind mobile ordering and getting people using the technology on their phones. It's unbelievable. Sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. All right, so what will game day look like in 2021? With everything that we've covered so far, as I think about it, there's one primary word that I think relates to all of it, and that's convenience, right? And the convenient offerings, fortunately, I think happen to also provide a safer environment for everybody too, right? Given the day and age that we're living in right now, and there are solutions that I think can be implemented without the burden of being restricted based on budget constraints and things of that nature. And yes, FanFood being one of those here. Yeah, there we go. And again, the primary emphasis throughout this conversation has been contactless alternatives, and I think rightfully so. FanFood, again, being a piece to that puzzle here, and I think ultimately, as we look at these contactless solutions, it is something that is going to be rapidly adopted, as we have seen even in this past year. But how does it work on our side? So fans are able to access the menu and the arena's concession menus, whether they are either downloading FanFood's app, which is most commonly done by those recurring fans, whether that be season ticket holders or those that attend multiple games. But more so, the most popular way are fans going to scan QR codes, right? Which some venues have even placed on armrests, back of seats, or handed a little business card flyer upon entry. And once the fan determines their desired items, they'll go ahead and place it via Google Pay, Apple Pay, and go ahead and process their order. And once the order is placed, it is then received in an order queue within the concession stand. And that is displayed on a tablet. So from there, right, we're in the concession stand. You have a concession prep personnel that is simply going to press the button, right? They'll be notified and notify the guests that their order is being prepared. And once all the items are together, all you have to do is press the word ready. And what that'll do is send the guest an SMS text message, let them know that their order is either ready for pickup or that it's on its way out for delivery, right? And ultimately, our primary goal here is to just build a solution that is easy to implement, provides the best user experience possible by making it easy to navigate through the system. The reality is, right, as many of the people I think on this call would attest to, is that though, yes, most people are up to speed with technology, many facilities are sourcing NPO groups, right, local nonprofits to staff their stands. And we can't just assume that they're going to be the most tech savvy individuals in the world, right? So with that in mind, we are able to build out all the necessary operational enablements, automatic triggers, but keep it so, it remains something that everybody can manage.
Let me ask you something. Get back to So from a timing perspective, are fans able to see, this stand has a 15-minute delivery window, or, X stand over there has a 5-minute delivery window? Can they see that, and are you guys tracking that?
Yeah, there are ETAs, and that's based on an average of when the orders come in and how quickly they are fulfilling that. So the fulfillment time is as soon as the order is grabbed to when the order is either picked up and delivered. But yes, they will be able to see what that estimated time is, either for pickup and or delivery.
Awesome. Oh, okay. And one last
appreciate that question.
Yeah, from a splitting, the basket, they order beer, wine, and something that's going to be or take a little bit longer. Can they get their beverage prior to the food, or does it all come out at once?
That's a great question. So for right now, the way it is that it's all bundled together in one order. Now, that is something that we could explore, because there is a way to communicate directly with the managers within the stand. So say, you wanted to get your beverage in advance, right? You have some other items that may take longer. There is a way to communicate with them. And because of that, we may be able to, provide that item or that beverage in advance. But right now there's not a way to break up the communication directly with the fan in terms of, hey, just this item's prepared and we're still working on this, in terms of that SMS message, right? Because it is just one unique order. But there are ways to have that communication where I think that is something that is possible. It just determines, frankly, how busy the stand is, and if they're able to, view that comment in a time period that, makes it worthwhile for them to get that drink in advance.
Awesome. Makes sense.
All right. So now diving into the power of mobile ordering, right? And to start off with just the revenue growth, these are some results, from the mobile ordering of concessions that we were able to derive from over 200 of our partners. Venues have seen a drastic shift, I think, in terms of where they're seeing the revenue streams come from when appropriately activating mobile ordering, which I think it is directly correlated to, the increase in order frequency. With the convenience behind online ordering, we have found that using FanFood, has led to a much easier way for fans to place orders, right? Which I think inclines fans to go ahead and place a second order during the same event, especially when people are utilizing, the pre-ordering capability prior to arrival. They'll go ahead, walk in the door, right? They grab their items, go to their seat. And then throughout the course of the game, right, maybe they got a pretzel or something and they become a little thirsty. So they'll go ahead and place that second order during the event. Which again, I think is directly correlated, right, to the per caps here. Because of that and the tactics that, teams can leverage on the app, that the AOV or average order value here has seen an increase of about 16% across the board. And, one other thing I would like to add to that is really just the marketability of mobile assets and mobile ordering in particular. FanFood did conduct a study with Mars Wrigley at the Durham Bulls, as well as the University of North Carolina. And, by creating combos that include candy, and utilizing product prioritization, right, within the app, applying tags like new or limited time, we saw a 94.5% increase in candy sales. Now, I do want to say our marketing team did an incredible job, so thank you, Isabella. But once again, this just reinforces the power and influence, mobile ordering can have on purchasing behaviors. Louis, did you have anything to add to that there?
Yeah, it's real world, right? I mean, when people have the ability to order what they want in their convenience, they're going to order higher. And I've had the pleasure to operate several venues, a couple NFL and a couple NBA arenas with mobile ordering and in-seat delivering, and it truly has increased per caps by $1.50, $2. That's significant. You're looking at minor league ballparks where the per cap average is $5.50, $6. If you're pulling a $7.50 per cap because of mobile ordering and in-seat, that's a game changer for the venue and for the food service company. So I'm behind it and I support it because of that. And it also, not only from a financial perspective, but from a fan experience. And I probably said fan experience 20 times on this call, but I truly mean it. This is what we're doing, and we're creating that fan experience, and mobile ordering and in-seat does that.
Absolutely. And just, undoubtedly. Right. And it's proven by the stats. When you look at the facts there, there's nothing else you can say to that. But moving on, right, as we look at the customer loyalty here, and this is referring to our partners, there's some things that they're always going to consider, right? So how much, does the platform cost, right? what is the real value, right? I mean, what's the saving potential here, by utilizing a platform like this, and is it easy to implement, right? So I think firstly, yeah, we have been able to apply FanFood in areas that have led to a reduction in labor costs, whether that is within a stand or, as we tailor for the premium suite areas as well. When you look at suite attendants, things of that sort. But also, right, we've been able to add a few more dollars per order by enabling tips, right? I mean, it's nothing that is necessarily required, but many will tip. And I think, as people have become more accustomed to placing orders online, it's almost second nature to have that applied. And one other thing is that we at FanFood, and I say this, and obviously something that any viewers would expect us to say, but we do take a lot of pride, not only in our support that we provide to the partners, but also the relationships that we actually build with them, right? I mean, each and every partner has a dedicated account manager. And really, I think it's apparent how much that means to them if you look at our net promoter score there, or essentially, right, those that are willing to refer us to a team or venue, which reflects that over 9 out of 10 of them would do so. So, moving on to the guest experience, right? The fans using the app happen to also be big fans of FanFood, right? And with every order, a portion of those proceeds, do go to the partnered, venue's food bank. There with our relationship with Feeding America as well.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me touching on the staff, the loyalty and increasing, the $2-3 that you guys are seeing, obviously our business has seen probably, or the hospitality business period has, been impacted drastically because of COVID, and we haven't, been fully staffed. $2 to $3 truly impacts these, cashiers, these runners drastically. They're only making, a little bit above minimum wage as is. So that's a game changer, and that's those people are going to be happier, and then in return provide a better, guess what, fan experience. So, I kudos, man. Let's keep doing it. If we can get to $4 or $5, that would be even better, because it truly is hard right now finding these people. They went out, to find other jobs and to support their families. So when we get back to full sports, where are these team members? Where are these employees? And stats like that will help with the recruiting effort.
Absolutely. And right, I mean, because mobile ordering is proven to be so powerful, I think more and more teams are starting to look at things that are fully mobile, right, including team apps, right, to increase fan engagement and provide kind of that one-stop shop for the fans, which I think should be leading us into the digital ordering experience. Perfect. So really, as we look at, integrating team apps, right, that the most common way that team app integrations work is there is a framework that enables other services to be embedded, right? So, I mean, for example, FanFood has been integrated into the Sanford Pentagon app, whose app was provided with one of our partners being From Now On. And FanFood has also been added to the Legion FC fan or team app there as well. And this is, for your most loyal fans, right? I mean, the fans that are willing to download an app for your facility, for your team, then don't have to go on to, go through the friction, right, of downloading another app and or scanning a QR code, because it's already provided and available to them, through the team app. And I think by having one, it really streamlines virtually everything that a fan would typically do, whether it is purchasing tickets, merchandise, F&B at an event, or potentially even parking tickets, right? And even looking at rosters, game schedules, etc. So, there's definitely been a big trend in the adoption of team apps across all levels of athletics. And I mean, this even trickles down to that of high schools, right? Providers like GoFan, for example. So this is without question a major trend that we're seeing. And certainly it's related to, data points too, in terms of how teams are able to leverage that to, again, tying it back to that personalization factor. All righty. So as we continue on here, diving into some stuff that's a little more specific and tailored for FanFood here, right? And one area that we touched on earlier being that premium suites, right? So this is an area that I think a lot of teams are looking to maximize their opportunity in. Suites, clubs, and really, although there have been restrictions, right, that are in place and will continue to be in place for the foreseeable future here, that doesn't change the fact that premium areas continue to remain king when it comes to revenue, right? And FanFood has built out a platform just for that. No more sending over PDF forms or filling those out, sending them back. Suite holders are going to be able to access FanFood's online platform and identify exactly which suites they're in, pre-order for the next game, and from there, right, they'll be able to select their F&B package, and if they want some merchandise, great, and then they check out. And soon, but not yet, we will be enabling teams to put credits. So guests within the suites are going to be able to order these kind of a la carte items right during the games as well, which does kind of transfer into that in-suite ordering aspect. So FanFood does have a product for in-suite ordering during the game, essentially identical to that of your FanFood app, right, for general admission seating, but it is tailored for the suites. So fans in the suite will be able to scan a QR code. It'll direct them straight to the premium menu offering available only to them, right? And then by having this solution in place, again, and I mentioned it earlier, and something that I think a lot of facilities, especially right now, are looking to strategically do is it does present the opportunity to reduce labor needed for those suite attendant positions, right? And with that, Lewis, would you say that suites do have almost a little more importance on maximizing the opportunity for revenue there than even previously? Granted, it has always been a big piece.
Yeah, I mean, every fan in a stadium is important, right? But the premium areas, the suites, the opportunity here is endless, right? Suite holders are tired of rushing on Tuesdays by 12 o'clock to fill out their PDF on what to order for their Sunday game. Right. I mean, that it's just so antiqued and people just don't want to do it. I mean, this provides convenience, and it allows you to promote special packages and talk directly to the suite holders. I mean, that's key. And the suite holders, you're talking about a per cap, right, for concessions, $6 dollars, as I alluded to earlier, $5 to $6 or $7. Suites, you're talking $40, $50, $55. So the importance of providing that experience for these suites it's a mandate. I mean, we have to, and a lot of companies have tried, right? A lot of companies have tried to master the suite ordering system and drastically failed. It looks like your system provides the robust platform that these venues need to cater to them. Is this QR code live?
Yes.
Can people go to it?
I was just about to say that. Yeah. I mean, so for those that are viewing here, if you guys wanted to go ahead and scan that QR code, it will direct you to one of the venues and the menus there to kind of see what that user experience is like.
And let me ask you one last question regarding suites. Please. So a lot of times in a suite, you have a restroom or you have your windows and you want them open. Can you communicate with the guest service team? Hey, need service in my restroom, need toilet tissue, need my windows open, need a wheelchair because we're getting ready to leave. Can you do that with your system?
Yes, and that is in direct communication with the attendant, right? So okay. There is streamlined communication with them where you're going to be able to make those comments directly to them. Though it's primarily used for F&B ordering, there is still that streamlined communication, right? And again, the intent is to almost make those suite attendants in a way, not entirely, but obsolete, during the games, except for when you really need them. And for those types of requests, our system does provide that ability to have direct communication with them.
Which is important for COVID times, right? People don't want strangers in their suites. So if I can communicate and I need this and only that interaction. And a lot of times in the non-COVID world, right? The suite attendant has 3 to 4 suites in a traditional environment. They're servicing one suite. Suite 4 down the road hasn't seen them in 20 minutes. They're not slacking off. They're just servicing other. I can communicate with them, and I can, I'll be in your suite in a few minutes, or yes, I have your additional bottles of Tito's that you want. It's on the way. So that's great, and that's key, and for the suite attendants and for everybody involved.
No, absolutely. Yep. Streamlining that communication versus needing to poke your head out of a door and try to get somebody's attention, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So here, a quick look at the FanFood Manager portal here, which is really just the back end of our operation. So this is where we'd be able to create the stores, menus, right, fulfill orders, and see those live game day reports, including number of orders per stand, top selling products, and fulfillment time, as well as much more. And really, I mean, if applicable, we do have the ability for our venues to have multiple different vendors. And what we're able to do is go ahead and affiliate the different merchant IDs on a store level. So there, right at the end, we can, appropriately distribute funds that way as well. But all of that is streamlined. And again, we tried to make this platform as easy as possible to use in terms of the enablements from both an inventory and product management standpoint. But what I would like to mention is we handle all that initial setup and legwork for you guys. And then for any adjustments that are needed, you guys will have the ability to do so. But if needed, your dedicated account manager will be able to support you there as well. And so quickly here, we're looking at just the list of POSs that we can integrate with today. I would like to note that, we can also integrate with some that may not be listed here, being that of a bypass and appetize. So all of these, again, a quick look to see if it does apply to you. A lot of people, when it comes to the integrations, it is primarily focused on just the centralization of data, right, from an inventory management and reconciliation standpoint there at the end of the night. And when you think about, and Lewis, to kind of reinforce me here, when you think about the integration, you're not looking to have it so FanFood orders are populating or popping up on your current terminals, right? It is just for the centralization of data, because you don't want to be fulfilling, walk-up orders while also trying to go through the mobile orders as well. So we do have a separate tablet and queue that is receiving the mobile orders in real time. But again, at the end of the night, all of that information can be centralized versus, needing to go ahead and take a look at our reports and then take that information and apply it to your POS terminal.
Yeah, I mean, that's just right. You don't want to muddy the waters with incoming orders and, you're trying to take an order in front of a guest. That's separate. Mobile ordering gets in the back of the stand. It's almost, if you go into a traditional restaurant, where you're trying to pump out orders from the back or the side, that's what it's done. And we just need the information on the back from a concessionaire, from having worked, for some of the top concession companies in the country. We need the sales, we need the credit card information, we need the menu mix, and all the analytics that comes with it. So you're right on with that.
Perfect. All right, so we'll kind of breeze through this, but how do you get started, you ask? Well, first we'll do all the heavy lifting for you guys. All we need really is for you guys to provide us with the menu and the pricing of your products, and we'll get really everything set up there. And then, kind of this first step here, all you have to do is go and fill out the form at fanfood.app/start. And once you submit that form, we'll have one of our specialists reach out to you, and oftentimes it will be within a 5-minute period. We're pretty quick. And this initial call gives us a better understanding of your venue's arrangements, and will enable us to identify what solutions may be the best fit for you guys. So moving on to the second step here is really confirming the scale of the rollout, right? How many stores and locations are we considering here, and what is the use case? Is it express pickup, instant delivery, the suite package? And then from there, we can discuss the price and models and which one is again most suitable or comfortable based on where you guys currently are at. And then the last step being, right, just the onboarding. So this is sending over the menu, and we'll get everything rolling. So in the meantime, right, our account executives will introduce you to the dedicated account manager, the customer success team, to go over exactly what your goals and expectations are with the FanFood platform, and we'll put a plan in place to execute that. So once the onboarding kicks off and the expectations are set, what we'll go ahead and do is configure the menu within your venue right inside of the app. We'll then train your staff. From there, we'll go ahead and work with your marketing team to provide insights on best practices for promotion. Our support is 24/7. So it's not just for the go live, right? I mean, we remain involved. And I always like to say, and you can ask anybody on our team, I say this all the time, is we aren't your typical SaaS company, right? Where we're going to go ahead and just hand over the platform and wish you the best of luck. No, I mean your success truly is our success, and once things are running smoothly, we can then collectively work together to see how we can go ahead and increase order volume and order size by having post-event discussions to see where there may be room for improvement there. And quickly, a question for Lewis here, because I know you've been active in this space for forever, right? And with all the different solutions in venue mobile ordering, really, and I'm sure you'll have this question for me too, but based on kind of this presentation, discussions we've had in the past, and with other platforms you've came across, how do you see FanFood comparing to some of these other solutions out there?
Yeah, before I answer that question, if anybody has any issues, just call me. I'll give you Will's number, and you can call him anytime. No, but in all seriousness, I've worked with all of them, right? And some are good and some are better. And I don't tend to sell or promote POS systems because every venue, every client, it's different. Just this POS system may not be applicable for this venue because they're, serving, other priorities, but it may be good for us, for somebody else. However, what comes with FanFood, my research, my involvement with you guys, and the information that you guys have provided and provided me in the past, you guys are dotting all the I's and crossing the T's, and you guys have a robust system, and you guys are growing, and you guys are able to adapt to the many needs, and I'm comfortable to put you guys in front of a client for an RFP and tell them, hey, this is going to be your solution, and it's not a solution that we're going to sell that's going to be antique in 2 years. This is a solution that you're going to be able to grow with it as well. So that's my answer. I mean, that's from the heart for the people on the call, not for you, Will. And quite frankly, if there's issues, I've know your character, and I know that you guys will send your engineers to to address and further develop.
No, I really appreciate that. And as I said, for our venues, I mean, their success really is ours, right? And we do have a pricing option that requires this no upfront fee or revenue share, and we're not looking to dip into the margins of our clients within the concession space, as we know to an extent. I mean, they already are rather minimal, right? So by filling out this form here, we're going to be able to work with you guys and go through kind of the pricing options that are going to be best suitable for your guys' venues. And really to kind of continue off of what Lewis said in terms of what and how we kind of compare is, at the end of the day, we are hyper focused on mobile ordering, right? And not only that, but hyper focused on the sports and live entertainment phase. And our goal is to have a system, again, that is flexible and is able to accommodate, right, to the best offering that's suitable for each of our partnered venues. It's not just the express pickup or delivery or suites offering. It's anything that's related to ordering F&B and beyond the platform. Again, we are one of those groups, and we take pride in this and being hands-on, because at the end of the day, as after 6 years of being focused with FanFood and working on mobile ordering, we know that this is still being pioneered, right? It's still just now reaching a point of mass adoption. So there is still a learning curve to this. And I can tell you that our team is here and willing to work with you guys to make sure that it's done appropriately.
All right. Thank you so much, Louis and Will. I hope everybody has some takeaways from this discussion. I know I have. So we want to be mindful of everybody's time because right now we are on the clock. So if you have to jump off, that's totally fine. We will be sending the recording and also the Q&A session. But if, well, Louis, you're fine, we'll stay on for additional 2 minutes or so and maybe answer a few questions just quickly because we do have some.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm gonna type the questions here. So what would the pricing model be for FanFood, especially for venues with a tighter budget?
Absolutely. So I can dive into that one real quickly here. So we have a couple different solutions, right? And given today's circumstances, we know that really across the board, budgets are much tighter. So because of that, we put a plan in place that essentially enables teams to get up and running with virtually no upfront cost. What we do is, again, we're not looking to bite into the margins of our partners here. So what we do is pass on a convenience fee to the fans, and that convenience fee is listed at 12.5% per order, right? But again, there's no monthly fee that's charged to the venues there. It is a convenience fee, right? Service fee that's passed on that the fan is covering. Now, the only potential expense with that would be the hardware. Right. And yes, you have the option to source hardware through us, through, getting a FanFood kit, which is, a 10-inch Samsung tablet. You have a countertop mount, a case, as well as a data plan. But our platform is agnostic, right? It's web-based. So really, if you have, an iPad or tablet yourselves already there in-house, by all means, you're able to repurpose that and that'll work just fine. So that's the model that I think I would recommend, right, to those venues that aren't looking to have any initial upfront costs until they kind of hit a point of I guess, recovery, right, to reconsider what the other potential solution is, which is a monthly fee of $150 per stand, and then just a 99-cent fee that is passed on to the users there. So those are the two different fees, right? It's really just a smaller convenience fee to the fans with the more SaaS related model of that $150 per month. But again, a lot of people, especially right now, are gravitating towards that 12.5% convenience fee that's passed on to the fans to get this thing up and running with, again, virtually no upfront costs there.
Perfect. We'll have one last question. So if we have an older demographics, how can we make sure fans know how to use FanFood?
That's a great question, and I could answer this, but Isabella, is this something that you want to answer in terms of the marketing capabilities and what your recommendations would be on that front, and I can add to it?
Yeah, sure. We get this question a lot because we do understand, and we work with over 200 venues. Many of them have older demographics, and the whole point of FanFood is designed and built for the people who use them. So we really keep that in mind, and the platform is just so easy to use. And don't hear from us because we look young, we look like we work in the tech space. Like, of course you know how to use it, but the worst that we hear from our customers is really, it just takes 2 taps, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, and it's very intuitive. There's no learning curve, be it for the app users. It's pretty much no-brainer. And think about mobile ordering now being the trend, be it ordering takeout, getting an Uber. It's just second nature for people across demographics. And actually on our platform, if we look at our user data, the vast majority of our users, actually the age range is between 35 all the way up to 60. So that's not an issue at all.
And I think one other thing, yeah, go ahead, Louis.
I'm sorry, and I was going to add, and we've done this in several other venues. do a little hand holding, for the teams and for the food and beverage operators. Bring your season ticket holders, showcase your food and have a little side station on how to operate it and walk them through it and download their app for them. It's just a select few people, but if you do hand holding, you teach them, you'll get them to adapt rather quickly.
And I think early on, we've had venues that have had this question and have had to deal with it. And really, I think the most difficult part is just getting them to, go through that one order, right? Placing just the first order. And then once they go through that process, once they realize the convenience behind it and aren't really that hesitant to move forward here. But then again, as we think about the older demographics, specifically, just apart from mobile ordering, but in the times that we are today, right? I mean, I think that demographic more than any wants to be safe, right, and keep their distance from people at this time. So I think it's really just having that conversation and making sure the messaging is appropriate, letting them know that this is an alternative that will, for one, keep them in their seats and away from larger crowds, but is also a more convenient way to place that order.
Perfect. We have a few more questions, but we'll be sending out through a follow-up email. Thank you so much, Will and Louis, again. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Definitely keep an eye out for your inbox, and we'll be in touch soon. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure
Awesome.
joining you guys.
All right. Thanks, Isabella. Louis, appreciate the time, man, as always.
You're very welcome. Thank you, guys.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.